now that you start to see, wow, I always know and sense the right way, at that point, it's time to turn inward and start looking at the sources of what you sense versus the outcome that they bring you, you know? So literally, and this means that you're going deeper and you're starting to follow your deeper.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the second fabulous week in 2017. Well, good news. Mercury finally goes direct. That means business moves forward on Earth, and I argue you will see destiny move forward in motion. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste Today. Welcome to Namaste Today, an enlightening way to start your day. I'm your host, Sensei Christopher Witecki, psychic astrologer, friend to the world, and I call myself the Sensei to serious joy. All my talent and all my time is here to bring Earth to a happier place. Namaste, my friend, and welcome to another week in January. Well, this week, Mercury moves direct, which means our formal stories finally move forward. It seems like we were stuck in molasses over the holidays. And this week, we're going to have a full moon, not just any old full moon, but what I call a quantum full moon. I'll be talking about that in this week's tea time. But first, let's take a look at the moods of the week in your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather covers from Monday, January 9th to Friday, January 13th. Looking at your 5-day moodcast, it's a fairly smooth week, but centers around a full moon on Thursday. Starting on Monday, it's sunny and manifesting. Things are rather positive, holding space for the new Mercury direct direction. On Tuesday, it's sunny with a chance of irritability. You're feeling sensitive about the future. It's your emotions coming online. On Wednesday, sunny and moody again. The moon is starting to build to full mass at this point. Then on Thursday, it is sunny and super passionate. This is our quantum full moon with a chance of breakdown and breakthrough emotionally. And then Friday, it will be sunny and hopeful with a number of quantum breakthroughs as well. Well, this week is going to be an interesting week. We're finally moving forward, and at least 3 of your spiritual stories say breakthrough. So in your sneak peek next week, I'm going to talk about what you're going through, and then our tea time, we're going to talk about what this quantum full moon means anyways. But first, let's take a sneak peek at the week. Taking a peek at the upcoming week, I coined this week, Destiny Takes Over. That's the phrase I used in my Megascope monthly report, because last week we were leading up to a big decision. The sun crossed Pluto on Saturday, and if you're not an astro nerd like me, I'll put it out simple. When the sun crosses Pluto, it's the end of our old life and the beginning of a new life. And since Pluto's at step 17, indeed, it is the end. Mercury then went direct on Sunday, and so as soon as we made these life decisions, boom, we kind of click into gear and we move forward. And that's what this week is about, moving forward on top of this personal decision. Now, this decision you made might have been in career or family or love. It could have been 1,000 places, but it represented the end of an era. And so this week, I think we have destiny taking over and moving forward. Destiny because I believe most people were destined to make that choice. And secondly, this is the consequences of your choice. So the consequences play out this week. Now, we have a full moon on Thursday. And what that means is that we're going to have an emotional look at what our decision was. And Capricorn really is emotionless. If you don't know, Capricorn is the opposite sign of Cancer, or the opposite of motion. So we might have made these decisions in the last week with a Mercury retrograde and not paying attention to our true feelings. This week, I argue the emotional consequences of your decision will play through, and you'll basically have the full moon as your last moment to get off the train. Okay, so the full moon is going to intensify what you're feeling. Now, on top of all this full moon is at step 22. All right, that's a quantum full moon. The sun will be at step 22. That's quantum with the sun. And not only those two planets, but Jupiter and Saturn will also be at step 22. In my experience, step 22 is the vortex number. When you have that number playing a number of times, usually life literally changes. And the full moon on Thursday is most likely the point at which it changes. Now, the key to 22 is I feel and I feel. That's what it is. 2 twos of feeling. And so realize this week could be an emotional and passionate week. You could find that your emotions start to build up and get more irritated and more irritated and more irritated on Wednesday. And then finally on Thursday, you're just like, wah, ready to kind of like overreact. Now, that's the wrong way to go, in my opinion. If you want to be super wise this week, you want to respond to your own emotions to calm down, respond to calm down, respond to calm down. So in the full moon, you gently glide across the bridge. However, this is a full moon in Cancer, so this is the most emotional we get in the entire year, and this is the only full moon that is in the home sign of Cancer. So this may be that people don't calm themselves down up till Thursday, and then a lot of people have some sort of an emotional burst of energy, and people could go too far. I predict that we might get some negative headlines of people going too far because they literally burst a gadget, busted a piston, so to speak, in their emotional matrix. Now, what's really interesting about this is we kind of build up with our emotional consequence up till Thursday, where we come to some sort of tug-of-war in ourselves. And in that tug-of-war in the full moon, you'll basically listen to your emotions and then make any last-minute adjustments with your decisions in Capricorn and your commitments in Capricorn. You may feel like going back in the full moon and then wake up the next day and go, no, that was crazy talk. All right, so sometimes that happens too. But what's interesting is on Friday the 13th, which in our culture is negative, the planets are painting a totally positive picture. In fact, on Friday the 13th, it looks like there's a huge breakthrough with everyone on Earth when it comes to their relationship with themselves. They finally feel like it's fair. There's a breakthrough with your ability to feel like you're finally healing. There's a breakthrough with your ability to accept your spiritual path. So no matter what the frustration is from Monday to Thursday about your decision and the emotional consequence of it, it looks like the entire week is going to turn out to end up in a lesson where you feel like, whew, you finally understand, you feel like you're at a new level, and you have made what I call a quantum shift. So without further ado, let's describe a little further what a full moon quantum shift is. Grab yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our weekly tea time. Today's tea time topic is the quantum full moon. And this goes to what I call step astrology, my own personal fascination and contribution to the astrological community. I discovered that the step numbers or the degrees of the planets actually relate to a state of awareness. And what I have found is that one of the most powerful step numbers or degree numbers is 22. In fact, if you go back to your natal chart in astrology and you see some 22s in your chart, you are a magical person. And let me explain why. It has to do with the 2 plus the 2. Our mind, our intellectual state of awareness, is what pretty much rules the earth. And that's really how evil has taken over on the earth. Dr. Evil has taken over by getting us in our head, building a society that's based only on science, only on fact, only on stuff that's provable, and has made women and our emotions seem like something crazy that we can't trust. You can't trust women, you can't trust emotions. Oh my goodness. So as a result, mankind has been very much dictated by dictators, and most of that dictation happens from our mind games. Our mind is worried, our mind is overthinking this, our mind is overanalyzing that. And the truth is that smart-ass mind of yours only knows what you've told it. It's not going to think of something outside of itself. That's where the power of emotion comes in. And I think that the truly evil on earth know this, and that's why they're limiting us in mind games and pharmaceuticals for the mind and depression and all these things for the mind. Because they know if they can keep us in our mind, we won't sense the truth. Step 22 is when spiritual truth happens, and it happens from the nature of 22. You have your feelings about something mixing with your feelings about something else. I feel and I feel. And what happens is feelings go around logic. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a very conservative man who has children, and one of his son grows up to be gay. Okay, so he has these feelings for the Lord, and he has these feelings for his son. And his logic says gay is not good. But his love and his feelings of love for his son end up working around the feelings for the church and working around his logic. Emotions work around logic. Let me give you another example. Let's say a man goes out and buys a brand new car without consulting his partner or his wife, okay? And then he goes home and tells his wife, hey, I just spent $86,000 on this car, and he was thinking this was a great thing and feeling good about it. But as soon as he feels his wife's disappointment, and he feels how upset she is, now this logic, this evidence, it was such good evidence, it was such good price, all the science of it is perfect, doesn't matter. It feels bad, so therefore we're not going to do it. So emotion usurps thought. In fact, that's what the steps of awareness are. Step 2 is I feel. Step 5 is I think. In the conscious stream of consciousness, we don't think until 3 steps after we have felt. Feeling is more powerful with more information. It is the Holy Spirit. So the reason why I bring this all up today has to do with the step 22 going on in the full moon. All right? We have a step 22 on the actual full moon, which means the sun is at step 22 and the moon is at step 22. Both are at step 22. That means our hearts are feeling a whole bunch of stuff and feeling a whole bunch of stuff, and our emotions are feeling a whole bunch of stuff and feeling a whole bunch of stuff. So you have 4 different sets of feelings kind of up in the air, 4 different sets of feelings that could change the feelings of something else, right? So our heart could end up changing our emotions could end up changing our heart. But wait, there's more to this, all right? The more is that Saturn, at the time of the full moon, is also at step 22. Which means that we are going to be thinking about our feelings about what we believe about this and our feelings about this sort of belief. So we have 2 sets of feelings up in the air. But wait, there's more. Jupiter is at step 22 at the same time, which means that human race will be emotionally flexible about what's fair to them and emotionally flexible about something else dealing with their fairness. So in this full moon, you have 4 sets of 22, all emotating at the same time, if that's a word. I just created it, okay? I give myself permission. And in all these complexities of emotion, okay, what ends up coming out first? Truth. Truth. Because you can feel something that's not true. Like, I feel super angry. Well, are you angry? Well, not really, right? Like, you can feel things that aren't truth. But when you have all these emotions happening at the same time with the full moon, and by the way, the moon is the power of 2. That's what Cancer is, the moon too. So you have the moon in the sign of 2 at its fullest of 2 with a bunch of 22s. What you have is a quantum shift. That is what I call the quantum full moon. That between the beginning and the end of the full moon period, which is basically 36 hours in total, really, like as far as how much it has effect, you could start off feeling one way and end feeling completely different. And it could have been something that you were so certain you would never feel differently about, so certain you couldn't change your mind about. But what happens is your emotions between your heart and your feelings with the sun in Capricorn and the moon in Cancer, these cause the Saturn and the Jupiter issues to also vibrate. And out of all of them, hopefully, you will find what feels the most true, which forces all the other parts of this dynamic to let go of what's not true and to embrace what is true. So I think this is a quantum full moon. Now, how do we get through this, Sensei? Good question. Let me tell you real quickly before I let you go. The way you survive something like that, in other words, some people find themselves married, in Vegas after a quantum 22 astrological thing. Sometimes people find themselves dead. I mean, honestly, you can go too far when emotions go stirring up this much and we go through a portal. And the way you handle it is you stay in touch with your own feelings. You go into this knowing what you feel, knowing who you are, knowing how you feel about certain things, and then being clear on how you feel, you explore these other feelings safely, okay? people get hurt when they are unaware of how they feel and they go jumping into the fire and then they get sucked into all sorts of things and they end up, married in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God, what was the problem? They lost touch with themselves. In fact, in lots of personal readings, I look at past life karma and I can see, and with my third eye, they lost touch with themselves. It's like they just went too far, and then once they started going too far, they couldn't turn back, and that was it. So don't lose touch with how you feel. Meditate on how you feel, and come out at the end with truth. What is true to your heart? That's the last point. Who knows truth? The heart. The heart knows what's true, whether you can prove it or not. All right, my friend. Well, it is always nice to get in front of you. Bella and I have a good time here. I want to put out there a couple of things. For one, I have a new product for people who are not subscribers called my Megascope monthly reports. This is an audio report about 20 minutes long that you can purchase. If you're a subscriber to Serious Joy, you get these for free, all 12 for free every month. If you're not a subscriber, you can now purchase them and download them at seriousjoy.tv. It's really fantastic. It's worth the price. They're $5.95. Give it a try. And if you'd like to try my subscribing to Serious Joy, now's a good time. One thing you'll get are 2 Megascopes or more, that you can watch. So you can find out more about that at seriousjoy.tv as well. If you'd like to follow me on Twitter, my handle is CWateki. And if you're watching on YouTube, please be kind and do subscribe. We thank you ahead of time. All right, my friend, we'll have a fabulous week observing how destiny takes over. Listen to your emotions before you get into that quantum shift, and I'll be on camera again next week. Don't forget, I'm available with audio blogs 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday at seriousjoy.tv. Until then, remember, I love you, and live, love, be.